Hey everybody, it's me, Sven Sharp, and here bringing you day number 64 of Let's Talk About Autism. Before we get started, hit the like and subscribe button down below. It'll help me out a lot. Anyway, today's video is about the fact, this isn't opinion, this isn't a theory, it is a fact, that autistic people who think they're trans are more likely to detransition. And it's not only that, it's probably going to be like 99% or more of those of us who say they're trans will detransition probably within the next 5 to 10 years. And the people who don't think that that's true are those who think the regret rate for trans is 1%, even though it's more like 30. And in the, 5 to 10 years from now, between, probably 2030 to 35, the regret rate is probably going to be 90% going forward here. So, and for autistics, I just said earlier, 99%. It'll probably be like 99.8 or even 99.9% regret rate. And there's a lot of reasons to this, but basically boils down to the reason an autistic person would even end up thinking they're trans in the first place, which I'm going to talk about in a later video. But when it comes to autistic people themselves, we obviously struggle and we want an easy answer to why. So when the trans come up and tell us that that's the reason why we struggle, we tend to hyperfixate on it and we tend to believe everything we say is true, even if it's not. So if an autistic person, or even neurodivergent in general, like ADHD can have this problem too, and others, OCD probably has it too, when you hyperfixate, once you're in that identity, it's going to be hard to get you out. And, no matter how hard the parents try, there's going to be some serious damage going forward. Like, they're probably going to medicalize. Most of them are going to go on to medicalize. So you fixate on it, but then a few years later, the regret's going to come up because you realize that that's not what you wanted to do. You realize you can't actually be that thing you were trying to be. And, like, the regret is just crazy. And it's bad enough for those of the non-autistic detransitioners, but for autistic detransitioners, it's one of those situations where a special interest into something that just is never going to happen ends up destroying your body for life. And it's really sad and tragic that this even happens to us so much more often. But, because they targeted us, I'm going to go to that later as well, because so many autistics compared to non-autistics ended up this way. It's like more than half the kids, maybe I'll have to bump it up to 60% or more of the people going into these gender places are on the spectrum. But considering we're only like a couple percent of the total population, and if our rate of identities to such is supposed to be about the same, you're going to have a way more likely chance of regret. So that's why autistic people who think they're trans are most certainly going to be more likely to detransition. And detransition is a form of healing. I talked about this yesterday with Chloe Cole, like not personally with her, of course, but about her and how much she's healed. And, it's a blessing that she's healed as much as she has. But detransition is healing. So when an autistic person fixates on something as a kid, and then a few years later it goes away, because this will probably be one of those videos I talk about, is special interests don't last forever. They're hyperfixations, but they aren't long-term fixations. So usually it's a couple years. So in 5 years to 10 years, I'd say, 98%, 99.8% of autistics who think they're trans are all going to be detransitioners. And hopefully they're all well aware of why that happened to them, why this even happened at all, and why we struggle in the first place, and the solution to fix it. And I will be there for every single one of them that eventually does it. Thank you very much for watching. Today was day 64. I will see you on day 65, and goodbye.